Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome to the Etiquette and Protocol channel. I'm Juliana Santiago, and in today's video, following Myra Jaime's suggestion, I'm going to talk a little more about etiquette on WhatsApp. Well, everyone, before I start this video, I would like to thank everyone who has already subscribed here to the Etiquette and Protocol channel. I'm really happy with how you all have received the channel, a channel that has grown so much in such a short time, not only in the number of subscribers, but also in the number of comments and engagement. Knowing that you are receiving our message, watching the videos, learning from the videos we share here, which we make with so much care, makes me really, really happy. So on behalf of everyone who is part of the recordings here, the Individualized Education Program team, the Institute of Etiquette and Protocol, we really wanted to thank all of you. If you're new to my work, I also have another channel called Vida de Casada. Many people already follow me there. I'll link it below so you can subscribe too. But I'm really happy that so many new people have joined us here on the Etiquette and Protocol channel. So thank you so much for really being a part of this, and seeing your warm welcome and affection is really important to me. Well, if you've just arrived here on the channel, you already know, right? You can go ahead and subscribe, sign up here, and turn on the notifications for the channel. We have videos once a week on this channel, always around 5:30, 6 o'clock. There's a new video here. You can expect it every Wednesday, okay? If you enjoyed this video's topic, please give it a like. I'm always keeping an eye on your comments. I know a lot of people send questions and doubts, but I always read the comments. And many of the comments I've seen here in this short time since the channel started will become new video topics, just like the one suggested by Mara Jane, who asked us to talk a bit more about etiquette on WhatsApp. Many times we think and consider that etiquette is just about how to hold a fork, how to hold a knife, how we should sit, how to enter and leave, and so on. But etiquette is much more than that. And today we already have a very strong practice, which is the etiquette used in electronic communication. So it's not just etiquette on social networks, whether it's here on YouTube, on your Twitter, on Instagram, or etiquette in the use and application of email, but we also have another resource where we should pay attention to the processes and the way we communicate, which is WhatsApp. Every time we talk about communicating with other people, we inevitably think about etiquette. Maybe for you this seems a bit distant, but little by little, or if you already follow the channel here, you already understand that etiquette is the process of creating good relationships with other people. So everything you do to make a relationship more pleasant, where you show respect, consideration, and kindness toward others, you are practicing even without realizing it. Actions that are related to etiquette and good manners. So before you understand a little more about how you are going to apply etiquette to your WhatsApp messages, you need to observe and think that first, WhatsApp is a tool that will make communication easier, and it is suitable for more direct, more expressive, and faster communication. You should always consider whether it's better to call the person, because sometimes you want to talk about something more extensive, something bigger, something that requires a little more attention from the other person. On WhatsApp, you simply send a message and you don't know if the person is able to respond to you at that moment. So, if you want to have more meaningful contact with more quality and depth with someone, the ideal is that you look for another form of communication, whether it's by phone or even an in-person meeting. WhatsApp is here to make these processes easier, just like email and other forms of communication through text messages. So let's go to our first point. Be careful with your writing. Check if it doesn't create double meanings. When we talk to someone, whether by phone or even in person, the person has some element that connects us to them. So if you're talking on the phone, you have your voice, which projects a tone of voice. And the person can feel if you're a little more nervous, if you're calm, if you're happy. Our tone of voice projects that to other people. So over the phone, we can have some contact. Of course, it's much less because it's just the tone of voice, but we can still establish a connection. When we meet in person, then we have other ways for the person to notice us, and they can perceive our body language. So they see our eyes, whether we're smiling, our gestures, and all of that helps the communication relationship. When we're talking about a message that's completely written, making sure your text doesn't lead to double interpretation is essential for you to maintain good communication with the person who will receive your WhatsApp message. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but sometimes we get messages and we think, wow, why is this person upset with me? Many times it's because they didn't really know how to write and organize their words. So when you're going to send a message to someone, be careful with how you use commas and periods. All of that will help. One thing that happens a lot on WhatsApp is that people exaggerate a bit when it comes to using items. So they use a lot of caps lock, a lot of bold text. Today we already have the option to put text in bold on WhatsApp, not just in email, but also on WhatsApp. And that creates a different interpretation. So when should you use a word in all caps? When you really want to emphasize that term. Because all caps, right, a word written entirely in uppercase, it even gives the feeling that you're shouting at someone. Hi, how are you? This is Juliana. What are the prices at this store? The reader of the all caps text will think, wow, what an aggressive person. That already sends a message to them whether you actually have that information or not. It's inevitable that you associate the interpretation of text in all caps with that style. The same thing happens if you send a message to someone all in bold. It will seem like you are really emphasizing that message, that you are a bit nervous. Now, when you use just a few words, it gives the impression that you are emphasizing that particular word, that you are adding a certain intensity. So, look at the difference if I send a message like this. Hi, how are you? This is Juliana. I would really like to know the price of this outfit. That's different. The person can see that I'm actually very interested in knowing the price, and the other person's interpretation, who often doesn't even know me, is going to be very different, okay? That's when we're talking about people you already have a high level of intimacy with. Your girlfriends, your friends, people who are very close to you. Maybe it's easy, right? This isn't going to affect them that deeply. But when you're communicating with someone you don't know very well, when it's your first level of contact, paying attention to these points is essential for you to project a good attitude and the image you want people to have of you in that first moment, sometimes even in that first contact, because we know, right? That, especially in this year of 2020, what we had was sales on WhatsApp, contact through WhatsApp, friends on WhatsApp, messages. Basically, everything was done through WhatsApp, which became really strong, especially for connecting with people you don't have any intimacy with. Another thing is also the time you send your WhatsApp message. Many times we end up sending messages late at night on weekends, and we need to have a certain patience when it comes to the response rate of those messages. Send messages mainly during business hours. So like nobody stays on WhatsApp 24 hours a day. Sometimes if there's a store or a person who provides service through WhatsApp, usually during business hours, they're more available to respond to you. They're closer to the resources to be able to help, whether it's their clients or other people. But outside of those hours, people do other things, just like you do other things, other people do too. So pay close attention to this. If it's something very urgent and it's during business hours and you see that you sent a message to someone and they haven't replied, call them. It's better. It's really better for you to pick up the phone and call rather than keep trying to contact them on WhatsApp and the person doesn't see your message. Sometimes she's focused on something else, on another work task, and at that moment her priority isn't replying to text messages. Pay close attention to the timing when sending messages. Sometimes we already have this idea inside us that it's rude or bad manners to call someone's house in the middle of the night, except when it's an emergency, right? Or if it's something crucial. So why don't we apply this to texting as well? Text messages, this issue of web etiquette, this issue of good manners for electronic connection, this is here to stay, guys. Communication today is no longer done the way it used to be. So all these practices that we already use on the phone and often even paid attention to in emails, we should also apply to something as recent as the use of text messaging apps. So really pay attention to this aspect and these points. Something that you might sometimes think doesn't have much to do with etiquette or good manners, but something that needs to be clear to you is that etiquette is also very much related to personal image, which is the image you project to other people. WhatsApp ends up being your social network there, in a way. So today it has image sharing. You can put a photo, a phrase, all these elements. People will, in a way, make a judgment about you. Mainly, I think this tip is especially for you who use WhatsApp as a work tool. Pay attention to the photo and the text you have on your WhatsApp. If this will in some way distance people from the image you want to convey, or if it will bring people closer to the image you want to convey. So if you use your WhatsApp, for example, to serve your clients or sometimes to work with your patients, in case you are a doctor or a dentist, pay attention to the image you use. That is often the impression the person will have in their first contact with you. Be careful also with using phrases and messages that can create a barrier between you and those people. We often think of WhatsApp as a way to connect with people we are close to, our friends. But today, WhatsApp has become a very important means of communication. So you also need to pay attention to these aspects regarding your personal image. By the way, if you want to know more about personal image and workplace etiquette, leave a comment below if you have any questions and I can come back with more videos like this. And if you're enjoying this video, go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. And sometimes I can come back with a part 2 talking about WhatsApp and electronic means because this is a topic, guys, that really has a lot to be discussed. And many people really need to have access to this information to improve how they use, especially apps like WhatsApp. The other issue is also the WhatsApp group. We know that nowadays it's very common for us to have groups with a lot of people in them, right? Usually these groups are organized to discuss a common topic. So if you're part of a group that has a purpose, be careful with the messages you end up sharing in that group. So you don't come across as an annoying person like, oh my gosh, and end up projecting an image you don't want people to have of you. Because, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, WhatsApp is often the only contact many people have with you, or it's how they keep in touch with you. So looking for ways to foster a good connection with those people, obviously the ones you want to have a good connection with, makes perfect sense. That's why you should pay attention to how you act in your WhatsApp groups. And the fifth and last but not least is the question, what is it, guys? Sending those huge audio messages on WhatsApp? Notice the issue of sending audio messages. I enjoy sending audio messages, but I'm currently unable to do so. You can send audio messages, but be mindful of the recipient. If sometimes it's not better, there's so much to talk about, wouldn't it be better to just call that person? If you've already asked the person if they like receiving audio messages, I know a lot of people who don't like getting audios. My husband, for example, is someone who doesn't like it. He only sends or listens to audio messages when it's absolutely necessary because he prefers to call. And, is he annoying because of that? No, he just wants to use WhatsApp in a certain way. And we need to respect when someone doesn't use apps the same way you do. When sending a long audio message, ask the recipient, hi, how are you? Can I send you an audio message or should we schedule a call to discuss this further? This puts the person in a more comfortable situation, in an environment where they can actually make their own choice if they want to talk to you on the phone or if they don't mind receiving a 4-minute audio message. And look, these are just some practices that I could keep telling you about here. About etiquette when using WhatsApp, there's also etiquette for using email, which we can discuss a little more later on. Phone etiquette. These communication tools are essential not only for us to project a good image, the image we want others to have of us, but also an excellent way to show respect, kindness, and consideration for others. By the way, if you like content related to modern etiquette and want to see how to apply etiquette in your daily life, I've already made a video right here talking about modern etiquette. And if you like this content and made it this far, you will definitely enjoy watching this video. I'll stop here for now. Thanks. See you next time.